Hey guys, this is Allison from AllyKatkreations. How are you? Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you get anything from my work, a mic drop, a connect the dot, an epiphany, a new author to read, a new book to explore, please consider supporting my work, helping me with my move, feed myself, all the above. It's bad. So I look like a trucker. I went to a truth tour in Brooklyn the other day. I'm very, very happy and excited that they showed up to a blue state. We always get ignored over here. Wonder why. But adventurous Allison decided that when I got off my bus, I was going to go and instead of paying to take the train over, I was going to walk the Brooklyn Bridge. I did going, but I don't know how smart that was, even though I really liked the pictures I took. It was great. And it was really good because I got a lot of meditation out. But I'm in immense pain. My feet look like I did an 8-hour point intensive. My legs, I look like I'm walking like I'm 105. And I had a backpack full of my spiritual goodies, all my tools. And I also had brought the team and crew goodies from New York, cheesecake, cookies, because I love them. And my back is killing me too. So I am a lazy lumpy bumpy today, in a lot of pain. A lot. Um so I'm just a hot mess. But we got Oahspe and we got to finish the Book of Sue, which is a little on the longer side, but it's not that bad. And I'll be able to finish it today. I have co-host 2, Ethan Cat, on my lap. And then I have Mama Cat, Miss Morgan, co-host number 1, sleeping in her usual spot. So we'll see what happens. I love it. And it's also cold in my house because I can't afford the energy bill. So gotta be very careful how I use my energy. So we're gonna pick up from the Book of Sue, and this is chapter 4. When the time of the festival had come, there congregated in horde, besides the Etherian hosts, more than 1,000 million souls to witness and to participate in the ceremonies. Sue said, "Here is wisdom and folly, false gods and their dupes, laziness and industry, swiftness and sloth. Yeah, here is a world worthless before Jehovih. And why? Simply for a lack of discipline and harmony. Everyone is for self, and none are producers for the general good. Alas, they are the same as mortals, but stripped of flesh. They are of no value to no one another, and to consequently of no value to themselves. Now will I show thee, O God, and these hapless beings, with no joy in nor hope of resurrection, shall become a great glory to the Father and his kingdoms. God said, Pity them, O Father. It is over 1,000 years since they have been visited by the higher heaven. Many of them are learned, but doubting if there will be another heavens. Save the plateau of the atmosphere of the earth. Millions and millions of them have never seen an Etherian. Alas, I fear for them. Su said, Fear not, O God, there are as martyr in my hands. Neither shall they be preaching to them, nor praying for them. They are tired of these things, but I will find a new light amongst them, and it shall speak for us. Hear me then, and with this populace I shall be as one that is unknown. Call then the as in yours, sorry guys. I don't know why my brain does that sometimes. It's very, very frustrating. And thy trumpeters and harpists, and all the musicians belonging to thy kingdom, and to the kingdom of thy lords, and let the procession begin. For in all public matters, those who are on the front, if wise, can lead on forever. Be politic, therefore, and shape the populace, while the self-gods are amazed at the immensity of the hosts assembled. God did as commanded, and the people saw there was a head to the proceedings. Su said, Send thy marshals and decorators to follow close after the musicians, distributing raiment to all who follow in the procession. My Etherian hosts are advised. They will stand by the way and with marvelous swiftness provide the raiment and all possible extravagant colors and fabrics and hats and ornaments shall be distributed and graciously with gratitude. My host shall be arrayed in plain white, and they shall march not, but be as servants and workmen. And when the Atmospherians had played and sung over all the boundaries of Horde, then shall my Etherian band sing and play and start the dance. All these were done, and from the very start to the termination of the music, there was harmony in every place and corner amongst 1,000 millions assembled. Nor was there ever so extravagantly equipped a multitude in the earth's heaven, and so completely captivated were the people, their enthusiasm was boundless. Then came the Etherian dance, the which so far surpassed the capacity of the Atmospherians, and not one could join in. Neither could they take part in the Etherian music. So the Atmospherians looked on, confounded by the excellence of that which was before their eyes. This ended the first day's proceedings, which to describe in full would require a large book. So the people were called to the refreshment, and the Etherians, still dressed in white and as servants and laborers, provided the dividends, for they had previously made convenience for a supply of material. And so easily and with such swiftness did they work that now for the first time did the more learned of Atmosphere begin observe them with surprise and wonder. Presently inquiries were made as to who they were and whence they came. For so Jehovih created man, and that when of his own accord be admireth the excellence of his neighbor, he goeth to the extreme in praising him. So God said, On the morrow shall a new entertainment be given, and new raiment and new viands for the feast. And the host shouted with the great vigor and praise. Then the people mingled together and conversed on all they had witnessed. Neither comprehended they the object save for the pleasure only. When the next day came, the Etherians had been divided into groups, and the rites of the ancients and of the host of IG in Partha were announced, requiring extravagant toilets and millions of Atmospherians as assistants. Toilets. Interesting. So great was their ambition to take part that only by promises of something in the next rites could be marshals make selections. Su, Jehovih's son, had previously stationed signal bells at remote distances from one another, but connected them so that the sounds would answer quickly. And in intervening places, extemporized forests and waterfalls were arranged, and near the middle space, 1,000 columns of fire were erected. I'm having teeth problems too, guys. as always, just ignore me. So in the morning of the second day, when all these glories and glorious scenes were completed, and the Etherians, still plain and white, stationed about, the Atmospherians were more confounded than ever, and more loudly shouting in their phase. First came the birth rites, then marriage rites, then death rites, and the first resurrection, then the rites of the harmony, and the play represented a million of Etherians who went to corporal world and followed it through its life and to death and resurrection, its darkness in harmony, in terrible suffering and atmospheria, ending with a tableau of a great sun of light descending to deliver them into everlasting paradise. So grand was the spectacle and so sublime the music and the spoken words that the hosts of Horde wept and laughed and shouted and prayed as if their souls would break with joy. Thus ended the second day, and so completed was glorious work that every soul had worn a solemn oath to forsake the earth and lower heaven forever. Then God announced for the third day the display of Etherian power, and the people were so bewildered already that a child could have led the most stubborn of all. For thus Jehovih created man, who, having become much conceited in himself, turneth right about and maketh himself a submissive fool. So on the third day the Etherians displayed their power over the elements of the atmosphere, making corporeal substances and dissolving them at pleasure, making light into darkness and darkness into light, weaving fabrics, making diadems and precious stones, gathering vidends from the essence of things, evaporated up from the earth, founding plateau and temples in heaven, making ships and chains and musical instruments, and lastly, the Etherian marshals, with 500,000 Etherians, turned the winds and sent a heavy shower of rain down to the corporeal earth. And all the while the musicians of the host of Su were discoursing music, the sweetness and grandeur of which surpassed the Etherians so far that they were as nothing. So because of the exhibition of great power and wisdom, the third day had changed the fortunes and aspirations of every man and woman in the lower heaven, and they were running hither and thither, pleading to be taken as apprentices or servants, pledging themselves to do anything required of them. Neither would they be put off, demanding that half of the next day should be given to initiating them as real beginners in the second resurrection. Then God spake to them, saying, Ye know not what ye speak. Behold, I have commanded ye for hundreds of years to put away your fine raiment and sparkling gems, and to become adorning your souls, as to become bridges and what a day today. Brides and bridegrooms of the Great Spirit. Brain's not working. But ye would not be strove continually to adorn yourselves, forgetting to labor for those beneath you. Behold, now stand Jehovah's brides and bridegrooms before you. What is their worth compared to yours? Are they not plain, and are they not decorated? But millions of voices rose up, saying, We do not whatever thou commandest, O God. There is no God like unto thee. Then God spake, saying, Hear me. Then further, this is to begin a second resurrection, to put away your jewels and diadems and ornaments, and above all things to forsake self, and henceforth labor for others who are beneath you. If ye do this in brotherhood, ye are already beginning the second resurrection. Neither is there any other road to wisdom and power. Again, the multitude cried out, We will do anything. We have faith. And God answered them, saying, Suffer then a few to be initiated on tomorrow, but ye be patient and a good judgment, slow to resolve, but firm forever. So on the fourth day in the morning, behold, more than 100 million spirits had abandoned their showy radiant and stood array in white, devoid of jewels and diadems, ready to be initiated and take the vows of the second resurrection as above. And accordingly new music was prepared, and the procession and ceremony so arranged that the greatest possible glory would be manifested. Canopies were stretched overhead, and arches and columns on the borders of the march decorated with flowers and vines. Amidst these, half concealed, were nestled the response singers, who were to speak for and with the initiates. But concealed from view and afar off were bells and explosives, which were the morning signals. And the glad and solemn sound of the immortal voice came upon the souls of millions impatient to vow themselves to a new life. And God and his hosts welcomed them with great joy. So grand and imposing were the ceremonies that midday another 100 million came robed in white to be initiated also, neither desired people of any entertainment. And so initiations were continued on the 5th day, and yet another 100 million applied, also robed in white. And this was continued to the 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th days. And lo and behold, 1,000 million angels had taken the vows of the second resurrection. Sounds similar to what we might be experiencing now in a different kind of way. No way stuff. Chapter 5. After this manner were the words of the initiation, led by the Etherian host, to wit, God on the throne said, O Jehovih, Almighty, Almighty, boundless. Response, how should I comprehend thee, thou mighty one? God, thou higher than all gods and lords. Response, who movest the universe with power unlimited? God, creator and controller of the corporeal worlds. Response, in whose hands the Etherian firmament is like a fruitful garden, wider than the boundaries of time. God, whose members are all space. Response, whose members are all of that is within place beyond measure. God, thou, Jehovih, thou fountain and terminus of all things. Response, Jehovih, Jehovih, of whom all things are but parts attuned to thy will. God, thou all-person, O Jehovih, incomprehensible. Response, who speakest in the light, whose voice is the progress of the universe. God, Jehovih, thou all-giver, by giving createth. Response, what are thy secrets, Almighty One? Jehovih, everlasting and greater than magnitude. God, I see nothing in all the universe but thee. All selves are but fractions of thyself, Jehovih. Okay, even though I don't agree with a lot that goes on in this book, that is what I always preach and say all the effing time. Yes. I'm going to read that again. God, I see nothing in all the universe but thee. All selves are but fractions. Fractals, fractions, fractals, fractions, fractals, fractions. Fractals of thyself. Keep that up. Keep that up in that brain. Responds, who hath not beholden thee? O Jehovih, thy person is in the east and west and north and south, below and above, far and near. God, who hath not heard thy voice? Who hath not found thy hand that pusheth him away? Response, without thee, Jehovah, I go not. I move not. I set out to do nothing. And things of myself, and fail utterly. Sorry about that. God, what man is before thee, O Jehovah? He setteth up a kingdom, and it faileth as a house of straw. Response, Jehovah, how I have wasted my time. My buildings were lighter than chaff. My virtues were but bubbles, and they are bursted and gone. God, when will man learn to attune himself to thee, O Jehovah? Response, how can I put away myself, O Jehovah? Have I not said I cannot put away my own judgment? God, man saith, I will not put away my judgment, and lo, therein doeth he it. Response: have I not said to protect myself in the first law and preserve my own in the highest law? God, man assumeth to protect himself because he is without faith in thee, Jehovih, and to preserve his own, which is in fact is not his. And here the light fell upon the throne, and Jehovah spake out of the light, saying, I have called thee, O man, from thy youth up. My voice have never ceased in thine ear. Who can come into life without me? Who can measure his own footsteps? Behold, he tradeth on my ground. Of all that he is made, the substance is mine. The kingdoms of the earth and the kingdoms of gods and lords in heaven, what are they more than imitations of my works, wherein they imitate me? Well, I am with them in wisdom, love, and power. Shall a man butt his head against a wall to prove he is greater than his creator? Behold, I came in the ancient days, saying, strive to become one with me, and thou shalt rejoice that I created thee. Strive to set up for thyself, and thy vanity shall in time pierce thee as a two-edged sword. Hear the love of thy creator, O man, for I made thee with fondness for thy sons and daughters. Of love like my own, I gave thee a part. And as thou sendest to the wayward son, beseeching him to return to thee, so do I bring my messengers from higher worlds to call thee. And that thou mayest not mistake their higher place, I give them power and wisdom surpassing thee. The voice ceased, and then it initiates said, henceforth I will serve only thee, O Jehovah, nor will I more think that shall become of me, for I know thou wilt appropriate me wisely, Jehovah. Accordingly, as the stone is hewn and polished, so wilt thou put it in the walls of thy house. My labor is new to hew, polish, and perfect mine own soul forever. My soul shall become as a shining star, my love like thy ethereal angels, and plain my raiment and clean forever. Nor more will I boast, nor speak untruth forever, nor sloth attain me, nor vanity shall, nor self, nor will I talk of myself, nor criticize my brethren, nor my neighbors, for they are thine, O Jehovah. To do righteous works and lift up my fellows shall be my labor henceforth forever. Make me strong in thee, Jehovah, and wise to thy will forever. Amen. Amen Ra. So great were the words of the music of the ceremonies that the people were entranced beyond measure. The old and divided kingdoms, which were without unity and discipline, were now replaced by extreme sanctity and decorum. Su said, hear me, O God, I will counsel thee for further. Know then that the false gods and false lords have gone off to build up kingdoms of their own, nor know they what hath happened in Horde. Suffer them to proceed until they have purified the corporeans from familiars and fetals, but they have finished. Call thou another festival of all these people, and also send word to the false gods and false lords who deny Jehovah, the all person, and they will come bringing their slaves, having themselves adorned in extravagant raiment and jewelry, for they will expect by their pageantry to triumph over all other gods and men, hoping to carry back with them millions of subjects. God said, I perceive, O Su, son of Jehovah. So God did as commanded, and sure enough, in course of time, the false gods and false lords stripped the barbarians of the earth of their familiars and fetals, making slaves of such spirits in heaven. And it came to pass that God gave another festival, and it was greater than the first. And there were present upward and 3,000 million angels who had become enlisted in righteous works. This was the beginning of the third year of Su, and his wisdom and power were now manifested all around the world, on earth and in heaven. And this is what happened in reference to the false gods and false lords, who came to the festival equipped in chariots and ships, with banners and flags, and crowns and diadems, and such wonderful extravagances, that like of which had not been in heaven since the flood. And each and every false god, false lord, endeavored to outdo the others in show and parade. As might be expected, the first day of the festival neither won their applause nor censure. The second day, they ceased to attract attention for the thrift and purity and wisdom manifested in the countless millions of the second resurrection, caused even children to receive more praise than the gods and lords with their glitter and show. On the third day, one half of the false gods and false lords cast aside their adornments and appeared in plain white, pleading to be initiated into the mysteries of the second resurrection. And the day following, the rest of them came also, seeking like admission. Whereupon the light of Jehovih spake through God on the throne, saying, Bethink ye, O ye gods and lords, what are ye doing? But as yesterday ye asked for kingdoms, desiring to be leaders and great workers over above your fellows, and ye obtained your desires, becoming gods and lords over millions, and these became your dutiful subjects, and ye adorned your thrones and your persons in great splendor. Behold, I give a festival, and ye came as living witnesses of what self-made gods and lords could accomplish. And your dutiful subjects came with you to attest their loyalty and good faith in your wisdom and power. Now have ye cast aside your crowns, high estate, praying to become workers amongst the host of men and women. Are you not mad? Are you not making yourselves the destroyers of your own subjects? For behold, because of your admiration of self-pomp and self-glory, all your subjects are cast aside in ignorance and misery. With one voice the self-gods and lords answered, saying, Alas, O God, what shall we do? Our crowns we can give away, our raiment and jewels, and our thrones and kingdoms. But, O God, we cannot give away our subjects. They will not go. We have bound them to us, and we are bound to them because we accepted them. What shall we do, O God? The burden is more than we can bear. God said, Be not disconsolate, O gods and lords. Ye have done a great work. Ye have rescued millions and millions of familiars and fetals. And even before ye applied for resurrection, behold, most of your subjects had already deserted you. Hear the judgment of your Creator, which is that when all your subjects and fetals are risen in wisdom and virtue and good works, so as to take the second resurrection, even on the same day shall be promoted. For only until then can ye have free of soul. The voice ceased, and the self-gods and self-lords answered, Thou art just, O Jehovih. We will go to work amongst our poor and ignorant subjects, and make them comprehend thy wisdom, power, and justice. For 10 days the festival lasted, then it ended. Thus was the first established rites and ceremonies in the lower heaven as a power to work wisdom and virtue. And from the time ever after, music and marching and dancing were included in all ceremonies by gods and lords of heaven. Chapter 7. In the 5th year of Su, he dispatched swift messengers to Itvak, one of those words, in Etheria, saying, Thus saith Su, God of 2 Etherian worlds, Behold, I am sojourning on the earth, and with God of heaven and his lords, have prepared 1,000 million brides and bridegrooms, and Jehovih's Etherian harvest. Greeting to Nista of Ho and Tawin, goddess, in the name of Jehovih. Send an Eravana and complete the resurrection of the father's brides and bridegrooms. So it came to pass in Etheria, the goddess Nista provided an Eravanya, an Etherian ship, resolving to come as commander-in-chief. Su advised God, saying, Make thou of this matter a great testimony in thy heaven, Send therefore thy messengers into all parts, into thy lords on the earth, inviting all people to be present to witness the ascent of Jehovah's brides and bridegrooms. God did as commanded, and on the day of the appearance of Nista, daughter of Jehovah, in her son's ship in the firmament, there were assembled in horde countless millions of souls inspired by Jehovah. Great was the rejoicing and the manifestations of delight when the sonship came in full view, descending like a world on fire. And when she passed Shimbat and was fully within the earth's vortex, the enthusiasm of the people knew no bounds. They sang and prayed and danced and clapped their hands as if mad with delight. Meantime, the brides and bridegrooms had been arrayed in Ethereal white and now saluting those whom they were soon to leave. Quietly, the Ethereal hosts filled their part in the great play of the immortal resurrection, very gods and goddesses in demeanor. Nearer and nearer came Nista in her son's ship, slowly turning and descending with 10,000 curtains suspended and waving, 10 times 10,000 banners and flags waving above and around, and then slowly down lower and lower till the Aravanya rested on the plateau of Horde to the south of the temple of Jehovah. Gustivi, marshalless to the throne of Su, in Izaracha with 10,000 deputies went forward, and with open arms received Nista, goddess descended, saluting with the sign of the star and square, having been warm friends with 200,000 years in the plains of Oyad, in the Ethereal Istu, and of Hindan, the spiritual center of the orbit of the great serpent, when in Zagago with Akka. The ensuers of both hosts were chanting, and the angels in the Aravagana coming forth in hundreds of thousands to be saluted by the previously trained brides and bridegrooms of Jehovah, and by the hosts of Su, the Ethereal laborers. And when Nista came up to the throne, God, great Su, rose up amidst the light, now fast gathering as a mantle of brilliant fire over the place of council. Su said, All hail, O Nista, Jehovah's daughter. God said in Jehovah's name, Welcome, O Nista. To which Nista answered, saying, By the wisdom and power of Jehovah, O my beloved. And Su and God parted, and Nista ascended and sat in the midst of the throne. After the ceremonies of salutation, Nista said, Let the brides and bridegrooms of Jehovah approach the throne of God. The marshals then ushered them to their places. 1,000 million, the swift messengers bound them on all sides, so that the responses should be uniform and as if spoken by one person. Whereupon Nista spake from the throne, and the brides and bridegrooms responded in the usual form of gods and goddesses, and then took the necessary vows and renunciations of the earth and lower heaven according to Jehovah's commandments. When the ceremonies were finished, God proclaimed one day of resurrection and recreation, which was to participated in joyously by upward 4,000 million souls. So on the next day, Nista and her hosts, with the 1,000 million brides and bridegrooms, entered the Aravana amidst the cheers and weeping of millions of atmospherians who had never witnessed so grand a spectacle. And then Nista, by the power of the Great Spirit, set her ship in motion, raised it up from the lower heaven, moved it upward by her command, saying, Arise, arise, Arviana, by the will of Arise. Embrace thou the realms of great Jehovah, arise. The ensuers and trumpeters were singing and playing, with those ascending threw down flowers and perfumes, and all manner of pleasant remembrances to the countless millions below. In the little while, the Aravana disappeared in the high heaven. This, then, is what followed of Su's ministration, to wit, when the end of dawn had come, this is the 6 years, he believed God and delivered God and his lords and other 1,000 million brides and bridegrooms, taking them into the extreme borders of Izarka, where was assigned the Aegean field of Rustuso, with 12 Ethereal worlds. And Su left Tehi as anointed God of the lower heaven for the next 400 years, and God Tehi anointed lords for the divisions of earth. The same has been heretofore, and the earth and heaven prospered, so that in the Dan following there were raised up 2,000 million brides and bridegrooms. From this time on, there was a decrease in the Etherean harvest for 2,000 years, after which time there came great darkness on the earth and heaven, belonging to it, and self-gods filled all atmospheria. And for lords there rose up in every nation on the earth, thousands and thousands, so that men and angels knew not if there were a true God or true Lord in all the universe. And that's the end of the book of Su. So I hope you enjoyed that. I found it very interesting, to say the least. The next book in this series, I already read. It's the Book of Apollo. I did that one already. So I'm going to skip around and find another one that I can read to all of you. Sending each and every one of you love and light. I hope you have an amazing rest of your weekend. Please enjoy. Please consider helping me out and supporting my work. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.